Good afternoon. My name is Jody, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the CA LISA Community Webcast. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question-and-answer session. If you would like to ask a question during this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press the pound key. Thank you. I would now like to turn today's conference over to Ms. Stefana Miller. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today. This is Stefana Muller, your product manager for Service Virtualization. Today we have a great lineup of content in regards to our latest releases of CA LISA products, 7.5.1 and 7.5.2. I have the full product management team on the call today as well to present to you the latest features. So we're going to use this as an opportunity for you to get to know a few of the people that are new to the team as well. Well, let's get started. I'll go through the agenda for today. We're going to go through introductions. Like I said, I'll share with you who each person is who's going to present today. I'll kind of cover a little bit about our CA community. Then we're going to go through some of the notable enhancements in the latest 2 releases of our product. We'll go through each of the product areas and our common components. And then at the end of this session, we'll have a question and answer session. At any time during the call, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to hit the Q&A panel over on the right side of your screen. It's there for you to ask questions, and we have a full lineup of people waiting to answer you, so please don't hesitate. At the end of the call, of course, we will be able to take verbal questions. Okay, actually, before I get started with introductions, Mary, could you, yep, there we go. So we have a poll for you, because this is one of the things we like to do now on our call. We have a poll, which version of CA LISA are you running today? So we're trying to get an idea of what versions are being run by our customers or our partners. So if you can respond to that poll, it should be on the right side of your screen. You have about a few minutes to respond to that poll. Okay, we'll give you a few minutes, and as that's happening, I'm going to move over to the next area and provide you some introduction to our team. Our DevTest product management team, which covers the formerly known as CA LISA product line, is led up by our senior leader here, Rajiv Gupta. Many of you know Rajiv. You've worked with him for years. He came over from ITKO prior to this product being a CA product. So Rajiv is on the line as well to answer questions in the Q&A panel, so please chat him up. On the right side of our screen, we have a picture of Chris Kraus. Chris Kraus is also from our ITKO acquisition. He has been around this CA LISA product line for a very long time. He actually is now focusing on the CA Pathfinder product, so he's going to be presenting those slides a little bit later in the presentation. As you all know, Chris is also our expert on the mainframe side of things, SAP, and some other middleware integration, so he's able to answer questions on our community about those technologies. Ian Kelly on the left side of our screen here is going to be covering our mobile test features in the product. He also covers the invoke APIs and our protocol support, so any enhancements to new protocols, Ian manages that team that will enhance our product. And then on the right side of our screen, one of our new members of the team is Arif Mohammed. Arif is going to be handling CA application tests from now on. So we used to call this LISA test, in case you're wondering what that product name is. Arif is going to be handling the new product name, which is CA application test. It's the same product, we just changed the name. There you go, there I am on the left side of the screen on the bottom. My name is Stefana Muller, and I'm handling CA Service Virtualization. Many of you have spoken to me already before, and I've been around this product line for about 10 months. And on the right side of your screen on the bottom is RP Jacob, I'm sorry, RP, I just butchered your name there. And RP is going to be handling CA Pathfinder. He came over from our engineering team, so he's very well versed in the product line and will be working with Chris Kraus on the CA Pathfinder product. So that is our DevTest product management team, a full gamut of people. The one thing that I wanted to mention to you all on this call today is that you can get in touch with us at any time on the CA community. And this is really important because one of the things that happened recently is that the CA community was upgraded, and there's a new login area, visual, new areas to navigate on the community. If you haven't already logged in, please do log in and make sure you join the communities. And the way you join a community now is by hitting the follow button on the upper right side of the screen. It's not visually pictured here, but you can see it when you do join the community and log in. So once you log in and you navigate to our community, you're able to hit the follow button to be able to get notifications about community conference calls, submit ideas into our community, and so on, as you were in the past. We also have a cool new blogging effort where our customers, partners, and our product management team are blogging about the latest trends and some interesting new features in our product. So take a look there, and if you'd like to participate, definitely reach out to myself through the community. Okay, let's get started on the product overview. So just going through, I'm going to cover a few of the features in CA Service Virtualization, and then we're going to move over to CA Application Test. And as I mentioned earlier, we're only really covering the main features in 7.5.1 and 7.5.2. These are 2-point releases after our major release of 7.5. The majority of things that were enhanced in this release were fixes. And then after the fixes, we also provided feature enhancements. Okay, so the first one I'm going to go through is the Swift Service Virtualization and Assertion. So for those of you who don't know about Swift today, just a quick overview. Swift is a messaging protocol and a network infrastructure, providing a standard transfer of messages containing financial transactions between banks and other financial institutions. This is something that's used globally, worldwide. Over 2 billion messages are presented throughout a year's time. So this is a very well-known message protocol and network infrastructure for transferring those secure messages. The interesting thing about it is that there's obviously a need to be able to test and use this technology and this protocol as well as the network infrastructure while in a development or test mode. And the challenge is financial institutions doing these testing or in development are pretty much paying for this transaction fee. With our new support for Swift Service Virtualization and the assertion of such, you're able to remove that cost from your dev and test environments. So just a little bit of the information about this feature. You have the ability to convert those Swift, very difficult to read, human read Swift messages into XML. We have support for magic states, as we do with other protocols, and support for stateful conversations, which is key. You also have the ability to test. After you virtualize this environment, you have the ability to test the messages that are sent, make sure that both the syntax and the semantics are valid. You actually have the option to check just syntax or check both syntax and semantics. We support specific Swift message types, MT, SEPA, and MX. So if you are using this technology today, definitely take a look at our new Swift Service Virtualization, and we have this new assertion. I have a visual picture of it at the bottom, the ability to assert that the message sent, or rather received from the Swift protocol is actually true or accurate. Okay, so let's move on to the next messaging protocol. Like I said, we did 2 protocol enhancements in this 7.5.1 release. The REST data protocol is now inherently supported in the product. In the past, we did support it. However, there was some discrepancies, if you would. in REST, as you know, you'll have multiple resources. If you can see here, there's an example of these rules. You have, in this example, stocks, the name of a company, and then price after that. And the challenge with reading this message in the past is that we would truncate it and say that the commonality ends with stocks. However, the variable is within that middle area, which is the name of a company, right? So the new feature in this latest release, the 7.5.1 product, is that we actually have a way of setting rules and have the ability to set a variable within a URI, so that the ticker, for instance, in this example, will not be lost, and you have the ability to virtualize that area. The new protocol enhancement allows you to detect this traffic, generate the rules for playback properly, as you can see here in the example below. You're able to import RR pairs with or without JSON or XML attachments. So if you have the attachments necessary, you have that ability. We also have updates to our UI that allow you to add, delete, and edit the rules that were generated by our automatic detector. So that's key for you needing to monitor or manage it yourself. Excuse me. And then we have made some enhancements actually in the 7.5.2 release that help generate rules more efficiently. So take a look. If you are having any concerns with 7.5.1, you can actually upgrade to 7.5.2 that has the enhancements. Okay, let's move over to the next area. I'm going to speed it up a little bit so that we can get to our next presenter. We have two new sync time companions for responses to virtual service responses, rather, to requests. So the two are, the first one is a batch response that's now available in 7.5.2. This is mostly useful with the SAP protocol. I have an example here where you are submitting orders, for example, and perhaps you want to only send the orders responses at a certain time of day. So in this batch or number of, and assign a quantity to that. So for example here, if you look at this graph below, I have the request coming in at 100 or even more per hour, but only at 11, at 2, and at, I think that's 5, we are responding with 300. So this allows you to set a number of orders that are at a specific date and specific time of day and the quantity. Here in this example, I actually have it repeating daily, and I have the quantity of 300 being sent as soon as possible, or rather all at once. You have the ability to also span that out if you uncheck the send all at once. So again, this enables a virtual service to send a defined number of responses at specified times. So you actually specify the time in the companion here on the right side of the workstation. Okay, the other companion that we have is for reoccurring periods. This enables the virtual service to send a batch of responses for every time period that the user specifies. So in this example, though, you would set the start time of when you want the batches, or rather the reoccurring period, to start, and then you set the reoccurring period. So here I actually set for every 1 hour, send 100 responses, and repeat this and send it all at once. So you can see my responses in, I think it's a pink-purple color, but my requests in the blue, which are above before that. My responses are sent throughout the day, every hour on the quarter, starting on the quarter hour. So this enables you to be a little more granular, or even less granular, with that scheduling, and kind of mimic your production system when you're dealing with orders or perhaps shipping, and you have a limit to the number of orders or that can be packed into a truck, for example. Okay. I'm now going to hand off to Arif Mohammed. Arif is going to go through a few slides on CA application tests. Arif?
Thank you, Stefana. Good morning, everyone. So on application test side, so do I have to switch the slides as well, Stefana? I'm sorry.
I can move them for you. That's no problem.
Okay. That's
Are you able to see?
Yes. Please move to the next slide.
Or if you're actually presenter now, so if you could just move the slides. I apologize for that.
No problem. Thank you. So in 7.5, as you guys know, that we actually created integration within the application test to leverage the Selenium WebDriver for your UI or web-based UI testing testing needs. In 7.5.1 and 5.2, actually, we enhanced it a little bit as well based on some of the feedback we got. One of the enhancement is basically as the tests are being executed through the Selenium WebDriver, it actually also captures these screenshots as well, so that you can utilize those screenshots for triaging purposes from your development side. Also, as you know, Selenium WebDriver has the capabilities to execute through the remote execution and plus execution of the test across different browsers as well. So in 7.1, we actually added that capability as well, where you can actually utilize a remote WebDriver and also specify what web browser you want to actually test or run the test against. So it actually opens it up for a lot of the different browsers as well. So you record it at once in the Firefox, and then you can actually execute through and validate the same test across different browsers. Here's an example of that actually with the ability to actually run it on the remote driver. It also opens it up for to utilize a web cloud-based services like Soft Labs. And here I'm just showing an example where the URL or the remote driver information is set to Soft Lab, and the test actually got executed inside Soft Lab as IE browser. I also posted a video actually on the community, so if you are interested, you can actually go onto the community and be able to look at that video. It actually goes through this whole process thoroughly. I'm going to pass on to Ian to talk about the mobile.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ian Kelly. I'm the product manager in the mobile space, and I have 3 things to show you that have come around in 7.5.2 and 7.5.1. And the first one is, I think, the most exciting that we have here, and it's during recording, we did not have the ability to interact with the assertion language within LISA. So you used to be able to record your session with the visual recorder you see here, and then in post or after that test has been created, create as many assertions as you wanted to on that. The issue with that came to some things like changing the orientation of the screen or going to the background or checking some other assets specifically on the phone. So we added the ability while you're in the visual recorder to simply right-click with your mouse, and you can interact with the phone in these ways and create these visual assertions. So you can add these assertions at the time of capturing the test, and you can still modify them in post, but this gives you the ability to add these assertions while you're creating the test. We also have extended that palette to things that we didn't have before, and in our roadmap you'll see some other things coming out here. Many mobile applications interact with things on the device or interact with things like your contact list, notifications, calendar, and this accesses the ability to access directly into your phone or into that phone's contact list to say, if this was a list of individuals, make sure that this list matches the contact list. And if it doesn't match my contact list, add that person from my contact. Or on the device, if I want to check something like the battery status or the network status, or make sure that the device is in a specific orientation for a sequence, we can do that. So that's very helpful and gives us quite a bit of capabilities as we record visually. And I think if you guys are aware, visual recording in the mobile industry is pretty unique. A lot of folks have the ability to script or create scripts, but recording visually on a device that looks just like the phone is rather unique for LISA, so that's a great thing to have. The next item that we have is Genymotion integration, and Genymotion is an extension of something called VirtualBox that lets you have basically virtual machines on your laptop or on a server that you can address. We added the ability to directly integrate with Genymotion with these by giving it a Genymotion prefix. So in your asset, you can have a Genymotion item like this HTC Evo phone that I have, or I can have that same HTC Evo phone within my standard AVD catalog. So I can tell LISA or CA Application Test which of those physical assets I want to go after. We also resolved over 50 bugs in mobile testing and in this mobile testing space within 751 and 752. That's one of the main reasons, that and just how fast the mobile industry works is one of the reasons we're prompting all customers to stay as current as possible with the application test releases for mobile. Finally, we added another partner, and this company is called Appurify. They've recently been acquired by Google, so that should speak a little bit to the strength of their offering. We added Appurify, and you can simply go into CA Application Test and create Appurify sessions. You used to be able to do these emulator simulators, or of course an attached device. If I wanted to attach my mobile phone to my laptop here, I could do that. We added Sauce Labs when we came out in 7.5, which is what you saw RF demoing for the Selenium space, and now we've added Appurify. So this allows you to write the same test and run the same test either on your attached device, on an emulator or simulator, over at Sauce Labs in an emulator or simulator, or up on Appurify on a physical device. So Appurify maintains a large group of physical devices. They do testing for Google and Macy's and some of the larger companies involved in mobile. And they have quite a few offerings, as you can see in the sample results on the right, that give you really great intelligence on what is going on that phone while you're running your test. The two graphs that you see there is CPU in the top and memory in the bottom. But you can also get at all of the phone internals, captures a full video of the test interaction, and provides all those results back to CA Application Test. So those are the three things that I think are most exciting of about 15 that we've added in the mobile space. So check out the release notes and make sure that you acquaint yourself with all the things that we've added. Don't think that this is just it. These are just the things that we had time for on the call today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ian. We actually have a poll question about mobile testing, and we just need to get a pulse check for those on the phone. Do you have a need today to test mobile applications? It's a very quick question. So as we move over to our next presenter, if you could answer that on the right side of your screen, that would be wonderful. Our next presenter is Chris Kraus. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, thank you, Stefana. So today I'm going to talk about some of the new features we added in 7.5.2 to Pathfinder. And as you know, there's a whole bunch of great new things happening in the next release. But these are things that we didn't get in 7.5, but we wanted to get out to customers. So one thing is ERPConnect for remote function calls. So we've noticed that a lot of customers are using SAP as a system of record, and they want to reference that data for mobile devices or for web applications. And we initially supported Java connectivity to there, and we've now added it for the ERPConnect. ERPConnect is a very nice ActiveX control that you can use to make your function calls. Technically, it sits on top of the NCO infrastructure of SAP. But what it will let you do is record your RFC calls and then decouple your development over on your .NET environment from your actual SAP implementation, so you can work, better in parallel. So the other major thing we did is we've taken the SAP NetWeaver J2EE platform and moved it as basically a first-class supported system in Pathfinder. So as many of you know, NetWeaver is SAP's J2EE application server. It was introduced back in 2000, and it's been growing in popularity. If you actually go to download your new LISA 752 software, when you're navigating the pages, you'll notice actually NetWeaver pops up in the toolbar. So we actually use this, and a lot of major companies do. What we've done is we've taught the agent how to monitor EJBs, web services, JMS messages, and RESTful services so that we can then see the paths, generate virtual services, and baselines from them. So just like you can do that with WebSphere, WebLogic, JBoss, Jetty, Web Methods, and TIBCO, you can now do it with the NetWeaver platform. So nothing too astounding like you would expect. We see the paths for web services, the implementations. We'll see the payloads, so you can use the generate virtual services and dataset buttons. We support this for the JMS side. So if you're using NetWeaver as a JMS provider, or maybe using a secondary JMS provider, it'll still work. And then you've got your EJBs. So if you're actually implementing core EJB logic inside of here. So I'm going to now pass over to Arpi. Arpi is our product manager for Pathfinder also. We co-product manage this. It's great to have Arpi in the system because he came from development. So he kind of can ground me when I'm like, well, I don't understand why we can't do that in 10 minutes. He has that core engineering background. So when he looks at service virtualization, he looks at it from how would a developer use it, or I look at it more from how would a quality engineer use it. So Arpi?
Hi, nice to meet you, those who I haven't met yet. Can we go to the next page, please? I'm still a novice to this PowerPoint.
So Arpi, you are the presenter now, so you can actually.
Yeah, you're on the configuration enhancements.
Okay. Okay, let's see here. Here we go. So, okay, can you see that? So basically in 7.5.2, we created this three-tiered configuration system for all of the Pathfinder components. So there are agents in the Pathfinder world. There are agents, there's a central broker, and consoles. And each of them has a built-in what we call a sample configuration that's always inside the component, and even if you don't have any other configuration files, it has these preset configuration. Now the other thing we did was we created this central configuration file that's managed through the broker. And this central component is distributed to all the agents and the consoles when they first connect to the broker. So it's a way to overwrite the sample or built-in configurations. And the central settings can be edited by a GUI in a LISA Workstation Calibrate tab. Now, you can also have local configuration file that sits right in the agent folder on remote machines. So typically you wouldn't use this, but for some settings that are required at startup before the agent has a chance to connect to the broker, this is where you would put your overrides. So in terms of precedence, you go from the built-in has the lowest precedence, which is overwritten by the central one, and then local has the highest precedence. There's also a basic support for being able to modify a group of agents, settings for a group of agents at one time through the central rules.xml file, but currently it only supports one group. So that's it. That's the configuration and enhancements, and I pass the ball back to Stefana.
Thanks, Arpi. Hi, everyone. It's Stefana again. I'm going to go through one of the common components, and then I'm going to hand off to Arif again. The one common component change that we made in 7.5.1 was that we changed two of the interfaces in LISA Workstation. So on the left side of your screen, you see a new Create New LISA Project menu or window. In the past, it was a bit confusing. There was about 5 options on one screen. We consolidated that down to make it more simple for the user that typically is going to just create a new project. So if you can see here, this is just the new screen, no major enhancement other than change in the UI. On the right side of the screen, you see a reorganized project panel. So in LISA Workstation today, or prior to 7.5.1, your project panel had, I believe, test at the top or Mars at the top. The challenge was that most people using the technology, our technology today, are working with virtual services and tests. So what we tried to do is reorganize that project panel to pull those 2 items at the top and then have everything else fall underneath those areas so that you can really minimize everything and just see what you're looking for. In the past, as you quite will remember, virtual services was all the way at the bottom, and a lot of times people didn't realize that it was there and couldn't actually realize that there was a scroll because it was small. So now it's up at the top, which I think makes it a little bit more simple for the new user. Again, some small enhancements to Workstation, and I'm going to now pass off to Arif Muhammad. Arif is going to go through 2 enhancements to the Enterprise Dashboard.
Thank you, Stefana. So on the Enterprise Dashboard side, some minor and one actually a good enhancement as well. So the one thing we actually did is navigational capabilities there. So we added a breadcrumb up on the top that actually lets you navigate a little better. The other thing we added actually from a navigation perspective is the ability to go back to the registry configuration to the top, so through one click, so that you don't have to go through multiple steps to actually get to the top of the page as well. Also, some enhancement or actually changes in terms of renaming of the menu items so that it's a little more intuitive actually. So on the top, there used to be a menu on the right-hand side which used to call configure. We have renamed it to option, and there used to be a configure registry option inside the menu, which actually got renamed to configure. And we also added the capability to purge the data. So before, when you actually remove a registry, it gets removed from the dashboard only, but the database still has the historical data and other content inside the database. So with this feature, what it would give you the ability to actually purge your historical events and event logs as well as metrics through the dashboard directly as well. So that's another enhancement actually we added in 7.1. Okay, thank you very much for your time, and open up for questions.
Thanks, Arif. So operator, could you introduce everyone to how they can ask verbal questions, please?
Yes, ma'am. At this time, if you would like to ask a question, please press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. We'll pause for just a moment to compile the Q&A roster. Again, that's star, then the number 1.
So while you're all jumping to ask questions, we have another poll on the right side of our screen. When do you plan to upgrade to CA LISA 7.5.2, which is our latest release? We're just trying to get a pulse check of whether you have plans or if you haven't considered it yet. So on the right side of your screen, if you could answer the poll, that would be great. And we'll wait for questions. Again, if you're not looking to ask a verbal question, you could also ask the question in the Q&A panel on the right side of the screen.
Again, if you would like to ask a question or have a comment, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad.
Okay, while we are waiting for verbal questions, I actually have one question that was sent to me via chat. The question is, if I am on 7.5, do I have to do anything to upgrade to 7.5.2? Chris Krause, do you want to take that one?
Sure, Stefana. So we didn't make any breaking changes like to databases or to new syntax. So any of your existing projects, you'll just be able to open them up in 7.5.2 and they'll start working. So there was no structural changes to the workflow or to the database. So think of this as patch fixes and then some new additional features that we didn't quite get into 7.5. So it should be a very easy upgrade for you.
Thank you, Chris. And operator, do we have any verbal questions?
No, ma'am, there are no questions at this time.
Okay. I'm actually going to read out some of the Q&A panel because I think this is valuable for anyone listening to the recording as well. There was a question from Roger asking, are there any plans to have CA LISA work with Citrix? And Chris has responded, yes, it does. The installer asks about shared install that moves all the files to a correct place for Citrix. So if you take a look at during your install of LISA, you can actually change the install type to shared install. Okay, we have another question that came in through chat. Give me 1 second to read it out. Is there an audit log that does not get purged? The reason for this is to be able to track actions such as exports and purges. I'm not exactly sure if we're talking about this question. If you can clarify this question, are you talking about an enterprise dashboard or within another component of LISA? So for the person who asked that question in chat, if you could go to the Q&A panel on the right side of your screen and clarify your question, that would be great. You've chatted. Okay, so the question, let me clarify. This question is for Enterprise Dashboard. So Arif or Chris, if you're able to answer, is there an audit log that does not get purged in the Enterprise Dashboard?
So there's a scheduled job that goes through and deletes data from the dashboard itself. So in this has to do with local.properties for the registry. There's a local.properties in the enterprise dashboard, and that's where we set up the timings for the auto purging of the data.
We have a comment also in the Q&A area. I'm going to read that out just to mention. Chris answered the question about how to upgrade to 7.5.2. Be sure to make sure that your license is enabled for the version by calling our licensing team prior to going and upgrading. Just want to keep that in mind. And while we are answering questions, we have another poll on the right side of the screen. If you could please rate the value of today's webcast for us. Okay, I'm actually going to still go into the Q&A panel because we have a bunch of questions in there. There is a question, were there any enhancements made to agent-based JDBC virtualization? The answer from Chris Krause is that there is a new UI that really simplifies the workflow for agent-based JDBC virtualization. If you'd like to take a look at an early version of this new UI that is scheduled for our Aquaria release, which is our next release, Chris Krause will be able to share that with you. And if you could reach out to him either through email or via the communities, that would be great. And we would definitely be able to share. The next question is, are there any new training courses scheduled for this year, and are there any scheduled for CA World? The answer is our training goal is to have new training available around the CA World timeframe, and they're going to be focused on the next release of LISA, which is where we drop the LISA name, so our DevTest solutions, if you would. Those training courses will be pre-conference sessions. That's what we're planning on right now. Nothing is set in stone for CA World, but please keep that in mind. Each of the product managers will be presenting sessions on the latest release at that time. It will be post 7.5.2, and I can't confirm which release it will be on at this moment. Okay. Are there any database schema changes as part of LISA 7.5.2? Do we have an answer for that? I don't believe there are any changes in 7.5.2. Team, on my side, I don't have anything.
So there's no changes from 7.5.1 to 7.5.2, or what version are they currently running? That's the question.
Yeah, so Surya, if you could confirm which version you're actually running today, because that would change the answer to the question, that would be helpful. Okay, a few more questions coming in. So again, you can definitely ask questions via the phone as well. Don't hesitate, but I'm going to continue to go down the line because I don't want to cut anyone off here. So the next question is, how easy is it to migrate from 6.x to 7.x, and is it a complete new installation or is just an upgrade possible? And Chris Krause answered that question, that it is a new install, but you won't have to convert your projects. Just make a copy of your projects and run regression test in 7.5.2. So make sure that you're testing a copy of projects before deleting your old instance. So we do recommend that you completely install a separate instance and do some testing beforehand. There are some database changes between the two releases. There's some significant UI changes, and we did degrade some features from 6.x that were no longer being used. So just keep that in mind. We also have a SWAT team that helps with these types of upgrades. So if your team is needing some assistance, please reach out to us on the community and we can set you up with some help. Okay, next question is from Sankar. When I use LISA Workstation, my test cases are local to my laptop. When I use Citrix, they are offshore access using LISA and Citrix. How will they have their local test case specific to each user? So this is the answer for most of the scenarios when you're dealing with multiple users and dealing with multiple locations, touching the same assets, or what we call artifacts in LISA. We always suggest that you use source control, like Subversion, to keep copies of your tests and then synchronize between different users. This is the same way you would handle your Java code or .NET code. We recommend that you do that so that there's a check-in and check-out process and there's no overwriting. There's a question of, is there a document available showing the benefits of moving from, to 7.x over 6.x? Chris answers that, and I also can answer that. There are a numerous number of features available in the latest version of 7.x. In 7.0, 7.1, and 7.5, all major releases, we enhanced the product significantly, both Workstation, and created new functionality like mobile test and the ability for Selenium test imports, things that I think many of our customers would like to see. We have a new asset framework. We have major enhancements to Pathfinder. In addition to that, 6.x is no longer supported beyond October of this year, so we're recommending people to upgrade as soon as possible, or at least have an upgrade plan where we can help you with that upgrade process. We do have all of the documentation on our latest releases out on our community. If you're looking for where that is and can't find it, please reach out to me on the community and I will absolutely share. let me move back. Are there any database schema changes as part of LISA 752? The question came from a person, Surya, and that person is running 7.5.1. So RP, the question is from 7.5.1 to 7.5.2, do I have any changes in the database schema?
No. The last change was from 7.1 to 7.5, so there's no changes after 7.5.0 to the database schema.
Great. Thank you. Okay, everyone. I apologize. I was reading off some of the Q&A. I think it's valuable for everyone to hear some commentary on those questions. Are there any other verbal questions, on the phone?
Yes, ma'am. Your first question comes from the line of Sankara Mohan from Lowe's.
I got my answer. Yeah, hi, I got my answer already.
Oh, you heard me speaking it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sankara. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you.
Again, if you would like to ask a question, please press *1 now.
Okay.
There are no questions.
Well, everyone, thank you so much. Well, everyone, we have a poll still out there. I believe it's still out there, or you can rate the value of today's webcast and let us know if this was valuable to you. We, of course, want to do this at least once a month where we're touching base with our full community. In addition to that, I'm going to do a plug for our customer validation program. We presented today things that are currently GA or generally available to you. If you'd like to be part of our customer validation program, we meet once a month to share with you information about what we're planning on delivering in the future. And we ask for your feedback along the way. We welcome anyone to join, and the information on how to join is out on our community. In the blog, you actually have to just sign an online agreement, and then we join you into our group there. I welcome any of our customers or partners to join that program and speak to us at least once a month and see our sprint reviews and join our development team. Well, that's all from us product managers today. I thank my team for getting us all together and getting the presentation out. And if you have any questions post to this call, again, I'm going to plug our community. Go out there. We are constantly out there answering questions for our customer. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thank you. That concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect. Presenters, please hold the line.